As a person who be pressed, because I'm emotional, so I be pressed. It be amazing to me when I'm not. Like when something that I would see would like literally be very upsetting for me or like cause me to feel like anxious or like upset about it. I just be glad when it doesn't faze me. So, obviously I'm estranged from my relatives, and so I have recently reconnected with my younger sister, the one who was adopted, and we weren't able to have a relationship. And so it's just not really, whatever. I don't live in Flint where she lives, so it's just gonna be kind of difficult. And whatever. And it was just like, ever since she had got adopted, and I just always wanted to be like, like it used to make me emotional not being around her. But anyway, I saw that she was with now I told her about our relatives. Like I told her everything, and I told her about our aunt that was trying to keep her or whatever, even though I do not like that person and all of that. But anyway, so yeah, but anyway, my cousin, he had uploaded some photos with them, talking about, oh, they're making memories or whatever. So I'm like, I guess. But usually, like a few years ago, that would really upset me. Like I probably would have been crying, feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm not there. And then like, because I'm estranged, I lost her too. But it's like, even when her and I like reconnected, I didn't feel anything. Like I didn't feel like, oh, I need to go visit her, or it's like trying to get her number or whatever, because it's just like I'm just detached from like my blood relatives, except my sons, like I just have no love for anybody that I am blood related to, besides my children. And it just is what it is. For my own sake, for my own peace, and for me to be the mom that I need to be, the change maker that I need to be, I need to detach, from all of them. And I'm just glad, whatever. And, maybe it's unfortunate or whatever, but it's like, I have to limit who has access to me for my peace. And that may mean that I have to limit my access to not only the specific person, but the people around them. Like I have to, low key, like be beefed out with them. And like, I had to do this with my brother. So my older sister and my older brother, they have a different mom. And I've talked about her in previous videos, like how she just didn't like me and just was a bitch or whatever. So finally I had said something to her, pretty much confronted her and just talked about, how she has no right to try to limit what I say, or, try to check me or try to disrespect me, when I have never came at her in a disrespectful manner, and I've never disrespected her to her face or behind her back. And I've always, I've genuinely thought that she fucked with me. And so, when I finally got the hint, and, wasn't thinking from a perspective of, oh, respecting my elder and yada, yada, yada. Once I really looked at her for what she was, like I just was able to see the pattern. Like, this bitch ain't never like me, and she low-key been a hating ass bitch. And it just all started making sense. So she ended up blocking me from social media after I confronted her about her behavior, or well, not really confronted her, but just responded back to her. And then, I said something else about it because, I be having a lot to say. So, one response usually ain't enough. But anyway, so that meant that because this lady does not like me, and because my brother is her son, and I already know that they have a history, that if somebody's mama don't like a person, like usually their children won't. And the way, like, my sister was like setting things up and, talking about me and going back, telling stories like half cocked, to make me appear, in a negative light and, all this other shit. So, because my brother has said things in the past that hinted at the fact that, he don't really like me and he has a very negative perception of me based on, the shit talking that my sister does. And obviously I was able to connect it to my sister because my sister does it to everybody. So it wasn't like she was only talking about me, like she was talking about everybody. So, but I'm not gonna treat them fucked up because I know my sister's being fucked up. So, when you talk shit about somebody, whatever, that's not gonna change how I feel unless I don't like that person. Then, they're fair game. But if they haven't done anything to me, that's usually your beef and I just stay out of it. Or, in my sister's case, she was just being a bitch, being messy, being judgmental. And again, I'm staying out of that. And I'm not going to treat a person fucked up because I know what my sister's doing. But anyway, they don't have that mindset. That's not where they're at in their thinking. So, and, they're going to value their relationship with their mother over the relationship with me, their half sister who they just met when, my brother was 24, 25 and, whatever. So it's like mama, little sister, So it just is what it is. And, so I just have to detach and, from my brother and my nieces and everybody, it just is what it is. Like, you've already shown me that you don't fuck with me. So again, I'm not, at this age that I'm at, and this has been for a few years, I'm not going to keep talking to people who don't like me. I'm not going to keep bringing myself around people and they think like, oh, they could criticize the things that I say, the way that I dress, my weight, my hair, the things that I post on social media, stuff like that. And this is what these people will be doing. But anyway, as far as my sisters are concerned, I'm just like, whatever. Like, I'm not jealous or upset or hurt or nothing, but I don't know. I'm just glad to be here. And I just wanted to acknowledge how consistency and being intentional about your healing, and staying the course and not giving up, because it was very hard. There was a lot of pity parties, that I have thrown and a lot of very angry moments that I've had. And it's just like, if I truly want to be free to maximize the physical distance, I need to cut the emotional attachment. That doesn't mean that I don't need to speak on it or whatever the case may be, but if I'm going to break the curse, if I'm going to truly heal, I need to really detach, and not like a mean detach, but like just keep working on the acceptance that I'm not going to have a relationship with these people. It's not in my best interest. It's not in my children's best interest. And that I still am living a fulfilled life and doing the things that I want to do career-wise, and personal and travel and stuff like that. So here's to growth, and keeping on keeping on.